منزلتها وحكم مانعها ومنكرها، ولماذا وما هي الحكمة من وراء إيجاب الزكاة وما هي فضائلها في حياة الإنسان. So inshallah Rabbil Alameen, we will continue talking about the zakah. Yesterday we talked about the meaning of the zakah, the definition of zakah, and the ruling or the basic ruling of zakah in Islam, and why it is obligatory, and also what is the ruling for the ones who withdraw or withhold zakah, and those who refuse to pay the zakah in case of denial and in case of stinginess. And we talked also about the virtues of zakah, the importance of zakah. Today we will talk about some conditions of the zakah to be obligatory. حتى تصبح الزكاة واجبة على الإنسان لازم تتوفر شروط معينة. أولها الإسلام، فإن غير المسلم لا يعطي زكاة أو لا يدفع زكاة، وإنما يدفع غير ذلك كالجزية والخراج ونحوها. ولكن هذه الزكاة عبادة، ولأنها عبادة لا يلزم بها غير المسلم، فإننا لا نجبر أو الإسلام لا يجبر غير المسلمين على الدخول في الإسلام ولا على أداء شيء من العبادات التي تخص المسلمين. كما أن الزكاة فيها منزلة عالية وبذل وتحتاج إلى نية، وهذه لا تصح إلا بالإسلام. So the first condition is Islam. So the non-Muslims do not pay zakah. They can pay tax. They used to pay something called jizya, like a tax for the non-Muslims. They could pay kharaj, whatever, but not zakah, because zakah is an act of worship, and to do a worship you need a niyyah, you need intention for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and intention needs Islam. Also, zakah is a kind of honoring the person. You are honored by paying the zakah, and you will be rewarded for this. And for the non-Muslims, this honor is only for Muslims. Also, scholars mentioned that the one who pays the zakah should be free, because freedom is one of the conditions, because in the previous eras there were slavery, and sometimes some slaves could earn money and get some money, but they do not pay zakah because their money is not their own, because they are owned by other people there, and their money are owned by other person who should pay the zakah on their behalf. But we no longer have such slavery, so we will inshallah ignore this condition, because it does not conflict our life now. أيضا من شروط الزكاة أو سببها الرئيسي هو ملك النصاب، أن يكون عندك نصاب من المال. نحن تكلمنا في الدرس الماضي، قلنا الزكاة تؤخذ من من؟ من الغني وتعطى للفقير. هذا مبدأ ثابت، تأخذ من الغني تعطي إيش؟ للفقير. لكن السؤال كيف نحدد الغني؟ كيف نحدد من هو الغني ومن هو الفقير؟ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وضع تحديدا بين الغني والفقير، لكن هذا التحديد كان مناسبا في عصر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، فحدد أشياء أو مقادير إذا امتلكها الإنسان صار غنيا، وإذا لم يمتلكها لا يعتبر غنيا. بس قبل ما نذكر هذه المقادير، غني الإنسان، الغني هو الذي يستغني عن غيره، زي ما قال رب العالمين إن الله هو الغني وأنتم الفقراء، يعني يستغني عن غيره، يعني لا يحتاج إلى غيره، لا يحتاجه في مساعدة، لا يحتاجه في عمل. إذن الغني هو الذي عنده من القدر من المال يكفيه بحيث يستغني به عن حاجة الناس. فالآن مثلا خلينا نسأل واحد على سبيل المثال، خلينا نقول موظف بيشتغل باخذ راتبه كل باي تشيك مثلا، او بيشتغل عند حدا في بزنس، هل هذا يحتاج الى غيره ولا لا يحتاج؟ يحتاج ولا لا يحتاج؟ نعم، كيف لا يحتاج؟ الموظف بيحتاج لأنه موظفه، صح ولا لا؟ لو زعل منه مديره شو بصير؟ بروح، وإذا روح شو بصير فيه؟ بده يدور على شغل جديد لحد ما يلاقي، فهذا يحتاج. لكن واحد عنده مثلا بزنس بدخل عليه 100,000 في الشهر ولا 100,000 في السنة، ولا يحتاج إلى غيره ولا لا يحتاج؟ هذا مستغني. So the main principle that there are wealthy and needy and some people in between. The word غني, which means that this person does not need any other or help from others. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about himself, Allah is the Ghani, which means that he does not need anyone, but we need him. So the Ghani owns wealth or enough money, so not to need anyone. For example, when you work as an employee, you need your boss, because you need your employer, because if he fired you, you will be in a big trouble. But if you have a big business and there is a good income, or if you have, like, let's say 300,000-400,000 in your bank account, even if they fired you, you don't need anything. You can you can go, you can continue with need for no one, at least for a year, let's say. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam put amounts of money. If you have them, you are غني at his time. فقال في 20 دينارا أو 200 درهم فضة أو 40 شاة أو 20 من البقر أو 5 من الإبل. وفي الزروع حدد ب5 أوسق اللي هي 60 أو عفوا 600 اللي هي 5 أوسق، وهي الوسق حوالي 300 صاع أو نحو ذلك يعني. فحدد مقادير. The Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم put amounts of the money in his time. If you have it, you are غني. For example, if you have 20 of golden dinars, you know the dinars they used to bring dinars. The first Islamic dinar was made at the time of Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, like tens of years after the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At the time of the Messenger, they used to bring dinars and dirhams from Persia and from the Romans. So if you have these, the merchants used to go to Levant or to Iraq and bring some money with them to sell their products and bring some money. So if you have 20 golden dinars or 200 dirham of silver, or if you have, let's say, 40 cattle of 40 sheep, or 20 cows, or 5 she camels, then you have to pay the zakah. Or if you have a farm that produces 5 wusq, 5 wusq is almost, let's say, 300 sa'. The sa' is a container they used to use to measure grains at the time of the Messenger. So these things were, at the time of the Messenger, were almost equal. So what is the common thing between the one who owns 20 dinars, 200? Now 20 dinars equal, like if some people and some scholars brought some dinars from, let's say, the museums, they measured them, they said it equals like 85 or 80 grams of gold, and then the value of 80 grams of gold, almost, let's say, $5,000 now. But for the 200 dirham of fidda, it's maybe about $500. But at the time of the Messenger, they were equal, the 20 dinars and the 200 dirham. And even the dowry of the daughters of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the women at that time, between 300 to 400 dirham. That was the dowry. A dowry of, you can marry with them. And also if you have like 40 sheep or 5 she camels, whatever, you considered ghani, wealthy, which means this amount of money is enough for you to live and to survive almost for a whole year without, if you quit or you fired and you don't have anything to do, you can survive for a whole year. This is the definition, what we take as a definition of ghani. Now, if you have $5,000 in the United States, it's nothing. If you have in your account $5,000 and you get fired, you can survive for 1 month only. To survive for a whole year, maybe you need how much? Like more than 50, 60, 70, whatever, to pay the rent or to pay the mortgage. It depends on your family. Also, if you have if you have $5,000, for example, in some countries, let's say in Africa, wow, you will be wealthy. If you have $5,000, while you have a large family, it differs than you have $5,000 while you are single. Because of this, I believe the scholars, and I always say that we need to gather scholars, but we need them the scholars should open their minds. They should not keep calculating the nisab in this way. And to put a system like the tax system, when you fill tax, they take in consideration your income, in what state you live, in your let's say, family members, if you pay for mortgage, if you pay for college, they deduct for you for everything. If you pay for medical health, they take all these things. We do not say that tax system is complete, but we say it takes in consideration many things, many important things that could affect your financials. And then, depending on this, they calculate your tax. Actually, I believe as Muslims, we should gather scholars with, let's say, specialists in economy and finance and make another system. But this cannot be made by one sheikh. It should be made by a big fiqh council. So because of this, we don't have any way to calculate the nisab but the old way, which is not accurate way for our time. Because the $5,000 is not the true or the correct, let's say, the correct amount which makes you wealthy. If someone came to you and said, I am wealthy, he is asking for your daughter's hand, for example, you will ask about his finance. You want your daughter to live comfortable in her life. He says, I'm wealthy. I pay zakah. How much do you have in your bank account? He says, $5,000. Get out of here. If you get fired, you will never be able to survive for more than 1 month or 2 months. So I believe in our country, here in the United States, should be like the amount that you can survive for a whole year. But because we don't have such system now, maybe after 10, 20 years, we need open-minded scholars who can gather and put this system. But until we have this, the only way is to calculate it through the gold value. So if you calculate the gold value, قديش الغرام الذهب اليوم؟ على 24 carats, about $60. اضربها ب 80 كم بيطلع معك بالدولار؟ 80 grams by 60, 80 by 60, 4,200. Yeah, almost. So if you have almost over 4,200 in your savings account, for more than 1 year, you did not spend them, then you have to pay zakat depending on this calculation of nisab. I believe this is not a fair way, but this is the only thing that we have. As we say, when we define safar, 80 kilometers. 80 kilometers at the time of the messenger on a camel, that used to take 3 days. 80 kilometers now, it will take you 1 hour. This is not considered as a right safar. But we don't have another thing to use for measuring the correct safar. So now our fiqh needs developing, I believe, and this is the duty for scholars. but they did not, most of them are not busy in doing this. But this needs a council of fuqaha, not only one sheikh to do, not one imam, because it's a big thing to do. It's not only the job of fuqaha, it is also the job of, I believe we have to bring experts from different fields, finance, economy, whatever. So if you have over $4,200 in your bank account, then you have to pay zakah for them 2.5%. So the next thing is of the conditions of the nisab. This nisab should be with you for a whole year. For example, let's say Kenan received in yesterday, okay, when his uncle passed away in Argentina, and he received the $1 million, okay, for sure this is way over the nisab, okay, and he received the $1 million, the $100 million in his bank account, okay, in the first of Ramadan. Then he has to keep them with him. If they stayed with him for a whole year till the next Ramadan, then he has to pay the zakah for them, okay. But if you spent them, for example, if I have like $5,000 in my bank account, but I lost my job for 1 month, I will spend them. Then all my savings will disappear. So I don't have to pay zakah for them now, because I no longer have this nisab. If I get it back, if I get a better job and started savings, then when I have these $5,000 in my bank account again, I will start calculating a new lunar year for the nisab. This is known as الحول. هذا ما يعرف بحولان الحول، أن يمر عليه حول كامل في ملكك. هذا لمعظم الأموال. أيضا يجب أن يكون هذا النصاب زائدا عن الحاجات الضرورية كالطعام والشراب والسكن ونحو ذلك، بحيث أنه أنت أبقيته في الحساب ولا تستخدمه. So this amount should be extra or more than your basic needs. So after paying your rent or mortgage, after paying your auto loan, after paying for school tuitions, after paying for clothes, for everything, and you still have an extra $5,000, $10,000 in your bank account for a whole year, then you have to pay zakah for them. Also, it should be your own money, because there are some money which is not owned by a specific person. For example, في أموال لا يملكها، في أموال شخصية أملكها حاطها في البنك أكاونت إلي أو بنك أكاونت باسمي وباسم زوجتي مثلا، هذه أموال شخصية. لكن في مال غير شخصي. على سبيل المثال، المال الذي في البنك أكاونت تبع الجامع، لمين هذا؟ هل هذا ملك للإمام؟ اليوم لو ملك للإمام كان بتشوفونا شلون. هل يستطيع الإمام أن يتصرف فيه على كيفه؟ هذا ليس ملكا للإمام وليس ملكا لمدير المسجد، هذا ملك للمسجد، والمسجد ملك لله وللناس التي تأتي إليه وتقوم عليه، فهذا ملك عام. كذلك الأموال العامة، يعني مثلا الأموال اللي بتكون public، خلينا نقول مثلا في عندنا مؤسسة أو مثلا السيتي هول، هل المال اللي في السيتي هول للمير هذا، ولا هذا مال ايش؟ مال الفيلج مثلا، في الفيلج هول مثلا اكاونت، هذا مال الفيلج، مش المال اللي في خزينة الولاية، هذا مال الولاية، هذا للولاية ولسكانها. طبعا هذا المفروض في بعض الدول تطبق هذا الأمر، في بعض الدول مال الدولة للحاكم بروح فبأخذوا له. نعم. So it should be owned by a person. For example, the money in the masjid account, it's not for a specific person. Even the imam or the director or the people who run the masjid are workers in the masjid. They don't own this money. They cannot do anything in this money for their personal use. They have to use it for the masjid. So such money is not a money of zakah. So we don't pay zakah. It's a kind of non-profit, you know, the non-profit organization, they don't pay taxes. For example, the money in the village, Orland Park Village account, for example, we pay taxes, we pay fines, traffic fines, whatever. It goes to their account. It's not for the mayor, it's not for the committee, it's for the village, for the schools, for the library, for the streets. It's for the village. The money for that the state owns, it's for the state, not for the governor. The money in the federal treasury, it's not for the president, it's for the country. In many countries, like here, they use this money for public use, but in other countries, they use it for personal use, you know. But this public money is not let's say, a goal of zakah. It's not zakatable. You don't pay zakah for this. So these are the most important things. You have to be Muslim to pay zakah. You have to own nisab. You have to be free. You have to own nisab, and you have to have this nisab for a whole year. Then if you have all these requirements, then you have to pay zakah on its time. So this is about the basics of zakah. Inshallah Rabbil Alameen, tomorrow we will talk about the zakah of the ما يعرف بزكاة النقدين, for gold, silver, jewelry, zakah for money, the cash money, the money in the bank account, cryptocurrency and such. Inshallah Rabbil Alameen, we will address this inshallah Rabbil Alameen tomorrow. نسأل الله رب العالمين أن يرزقنا علما نافعا وعملا صالحا.